Hey everyone, I'm going to make some dandelion jelly, and the first thing I need to do is hunt for these lovely flowers that a lot of people think are weeds. I'm not super worried about taking too many in my backyard, as dandelions are pretty prolific and they're going to keep popping up. But I am going to leave some for the bees and the early pollinators, and all I'm going to do is just take the top here and put it in my little bag, and we're going to keep collecting these till we have a good amount. Okay, now that I've gotten all that I would like, and I'm gonna make sure that this little guy gets out of the bag, I'm gonna take them inside and separate the yellow petals from the green parts of the flower. We're only going to use the yellow parts in our jelly mixture. Okay, now that I'm back inside, I washed my dandelions. I'm now going to put them in 3 different containers. So these are for the unopened buds that are going to be pickles. Here are the flower portions of the dandelion, and then the discard greens that I'm going to throw out later. And I'm going to keep doing this until all of this is in this jar. And you want to be careful because your hands might get stained yellow. It's not like permanent or anything, just wash it off with soap, but just be aware that if your hands do start to discolor a little bit, it's because of these guys. Okay, now that we've separated most of the flour, there's some green in there, but that's okay. I'm going to take some warm water and pour it over the flowers, essentially making a dandelion tea. I'm going to have the flowers steep in the fridge overnight. Screw this lid on here, and we'll come back and finish this project tomorrow. Okay, so I strained all that out and I ended up with about, it's a little hard to see, but about 3/4 of a cup of a liquid. I personally want a little bit more, and I don't mind the diluted flavor that comes with it, but if you want a more strong flavored of the dandelion jelly, you don't need to add water. So I'm just going to pour it over the flowers, just making sure I extract out all of that flavor goodness. And I'm going to go until we're out about 2 cups. So let me add that. I'm squishing the flowers just to get everything out. And I'm going to add all this liquid to a pot. Okay, so with my stove on, I'm going to add equal parts sugar, and I'm going to keep stirring until all that sugar dissolves and we bring to a low boil. So I had 2 cups of liquid, so I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar. So just make sure you're doing a 1-to-1 ratio. If you have 1 cup to 1 cup sugar, 3 cups sugar, etc. I know it seems like a lot of sugar, but remember that jelly has a lot of sugar in it, and we want to get that nice consistency going. So we can see right now it's still pretty murky, and as we move our spoon, we're just pushing the sugar through, and we're going to keep kind of stirring and watching it until all of our sugar is dissolved. So all of my sugar is dissolved. I'm able to move the spoon through. I'm not hearing any grit from that sugar. At this point, I know that some people add pectin to make it a more shelf-stable jelly. I'm only going to be putting this in my fridge, so I'm not as worried about it being shelf-stable. I'm not canning this. It's actually going to friend in a couple days. So I personally am not going to add pectin, but if you are going to, and you want it to be shelf stable, go ahead and add your pectin and let that come up to a boil to completely dissolve. So I'm just going to let this come to a rolling boil for a couple minutes before I put it in my jelly jars, and I'm going to store that away in the fridge. Okay, so this is going at a pretty good boil. I had it going for about 5 minutes, so I'm going to turn that off. I have my jars, my rings, lid, and a funnel, because I know myself, I'm going to spill everywhere if I don't have one. Again, I am not canning these to be shelf stable. They are simply going to go into my fridge. So what I'm going to do is take this hot liquid, so please be very careful, very, very careful, and slowly pour some of that into my jar. And that's it. I'm going to go jar to jar, fill them up. So we can see here, it's a nice, lovely yellow color. Put a lid on, put a ring on, and that's it. That's dandelion jelly. See y'all later.